Welcome back to the podcast. I know it's been a long time. Life got a little busy with the kid and everything, but we are back. I have a new addition, but if you are new here, my name is Tyler Ramsey. I am a 90 kg strongman, a online strength coach, and a gym owner. But my new addition is Matt Grubik. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great, dude. I'm so happy to be here. How are you doing?
I'm great. This podcast is going to be a huge upgrade with you on it. So, kind of give a little description about yourself, and then we'll get into our first topic.
Dude, absolutely. I'm a bodybuilder, but I hesitate to say that because I don't want to offend people who have actually competed before. But I am what I would call a wannabe classic and future open bodybuilder. That is my goal, is to one day be an open bodybuilder for sure. It's a little bit tough. I am 6'3". I'm 225 pounds, but at 6'3", that's just not as big as you need to be. But I am a fitness coach, right? I'm a lifestyle coach for people who are also trying to recomposite their body. I'm a data nerd by nature, so basically everything I do is completely just based off feedback, data points, check-ins, weekly check-ins, based off the looks. That's basically what bodybuilding is all about, actually. So I would say my specialty is using practical strategies that are one-to-one, just plug into people's lives as their lives currently sit, because to look good and to be a good bodybuilder and to walk around and to have a desirable physique, by no means do you need to be in the gym every single day. And there's just lots of lifestyle changes that you can make to make yourself look better that don't require 2 hours in the gym. So that's what I specialize in.
Awesome. Where did you start your fitness journey at? Did you start in bodybuilding? Did you start with like strongman, powerlifting? Kind of where did you start your journey, and how long ago was that?
That is a fantastic question. I started my journey as a strongman, actually. Tyler, for those that don't know, Tyler was actually my first coach. Just linked up with Tyler because at that point in my life, I had just lost a ton of weight. So I was historically been an obese kid, an obese teenager, all the way growing up. Had some health issues that I could lean on as my issue, but realistically, the issue was entirely internal. It was myself and just the way I treated myself. So my peak weight was 250 pounds of complete fat. It was 248 pounds to be exact. I couldn't even bench 135 at that point, not even a plate on each side. It was really, really bad. I was as fat, but simultaneously as weak as they come, which is just not the combination you're looking for at all. So I actually lost over 80 pounds across less than 9 months, which is extremely unhealthy.
Yeah.
I self-imposed anorexia for sure. I remember I wasn't like worried about it for, I actually had discipline for the first time in my life. So I just recognized it for what it was. But I thoroughly remember it was just all mental. I would eat food that was actually caloric and I would throw up. And it's not because I wanted to throw up or bulimia or anything like that. Like it was my goal. It was just my body was not used to it. When I was lost all that weight, it was on 1,300 calories a day. And I would slate those calories to be foods that I wanted. I remember days where all 1,300 calories were Welch's grape juice because I liked Welch's grape juice as a kid. So it was really, really bad. I had lost all that weight. I went all the way down to 174 pounds. And I realized, wow, I have the exact same physique. I'm just smaller, right? I was
Yeah.
still fat. Still had man boobs, the whole 9 yards, no semblance of abs, lower back fat, love handles hanging over. It was really bad. At that point, I realized what all those people say about not just losing weight is going to make you look better was actually 100% true. Nobody is bullshitting you when they say that. That's a frequently a mindset that people have that haven't gotten to fitness yet, is that people who are into fitness, we're all gatekeeping and we're all giving you this advice that's going to hold you back. And we say don't go to the gym 7 days a week, and you think, oh, they went to the gym 7 days a week. And yeah, you're right, I did for 2 years straight. It
Yeah.
was fucking stupid. I self-imposed severe tendonitis. I have torn tendons in my elbow that will literally never be the same because of it, and I want you to not do that. It didn't aid my results. I would look better had I not done that. So that's just a little side tangent there. So, but anyways, at that point, lost a ton of weight, linked up with Tyler, started doing what I would consider strongman. If I would assume that's what that was. Wasn't really lifting rocks and stuff at that point, but I was strongman slash powerlifting. Bench, deadlift, squat, some accessory work for sure. But I was just getting into the gym for the first time in my life, and it was awesome. You did fantastic, dude. My life completely changed with Tyler, and Tyler is what enabled my journey to be what it is today, which is incredible to think that we can stand side by side now
Yeah,
instead of just
it's
like you
awesome.
completely lead me in all ways. It's so odd. It feels like it's still look at you as the teacher, which is really odd, but it doesn't feel like that anymore. But it's just
No.
always that weird thing. It's like when you see your fifth grade basketball coach and you're always going to call him coach, but you're like, this is weird because we're both adults now and pay the same amount of
Yeah.
taxes. But yeah, lost a ton of weight, linked up with Tyler, ended up getting the physique that I thought I had wanted my whole life, right? We have this, oh, I just want this, right? And you had gotten me to my goal. And then my goal shifted, as our goals always should be shifting if we want to continuously improve.
Correct.
I started watching just YouTube videos, started getting into fitness content, and I ran into two very influential people that I never talked to or everything like this, but they would never know they inspired the rest of the journey. But David Lade and Anthony Mantello. I remember sending Tyler and Anthony Mantello a video as I was on vacation one time. Funnily enough, on that vacation, I was lifting every single day at 5 a.m. for 2 hours, doing the dumb thing I encourage people not to do on vacation. Really frustrated at myself in hindsight, but sent Tyler that video. I said, I don't know what this guy does. I want to look like this. And I watched, how he was lifting it. It was not, it didn't remotely look like anything I was doing. So I said, I know this isn't what you do, but this is what I want to do. And then Tyler enabled my bodybuilding journey. You got really knowledgeable about bodybuilding. And you enabled that. So I ended up sticking with you for probably months and months, maybe even a year after that. I don't know the exact timeline, but we bodybuilt together you were my bodybuilding coach for a long
Yeah.
time there.
Yeah.
One point, and this was way before he had popped off, but at this point, everyone knows of Noel Diesel, right? He's really popular now. But at this point, he wasn't nearly as popular. I want to say he had like 1.2 million followers, and that was like on TikTok, where like followers are super inflated. So he wasn't nearly as popular as he is now. He had posted a thing about coaching. And it was actually like personal one-on-one coaching where he would text you, he would video call you, whole 9 yards. I was like, that's sick. And also, the price was really good. So he charges very little. I'm just gonna call it how it is. And so I got with Noel Diesel. And so he gave me all the bodybuilding, like that next layer, I guess, right?
Yeah.
You gave me the basis, and it felt like he just went slightly deeper into the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And so he taught me about supplementation, about how to eat. He's the one who really fixed my eating disorder. And it's because the reason being, why did Tyler, as my previous coach, why was he not capable of doing that? It's just purely because we went to high school together, right? So there's that different relationship. Whereas Noel Diesel, proven IFBB pro, he's like, you're so dumb for not eating. I'm like, well, I want to look like you. I'm going to listen, right? You know what I mean?
For
So it's just
sure.
like, it felt like I was like, it was total like father moment. It was just like, you're fucking stupid. And I changed the way I was doing things. So he's the first person I ever like truly bulked with. You were trying to get me to bulk for so long. I was always trying to stay lean because I thought lean is law. And because David Lade was always lean, and then I realized that my goals continued to shift, right? David Lade made me want to bodybuild, and then shortly after that, I didn't even want to look like David Lade. I wanted to mog him if we had walked into the same room. Um, so yeah, trained with Noel Diesel for probably about a year. He's my coach, maybe a little over a year, probably closer to a year and a half. But then I go another layer deeper into the rabbit hole, and I get who is my coach currently, actually. So my coach is Cody Dial, who's not as popular as he should be. I'm just going to call it as it is.
That's true. That's so true.
Cody is a certified fucking genius. I consider myself extremely knowledgeable. I don't interact with anyone in real life that gives me information that shocks me. It feels like I'm what they're about to say. I already know what they're going to say, and I know a few things that they probably don't know. So I let them know. Cody it's the complete opposite. Every time we have a consultation, every time we're on the phone, every time we interact with each other, it's so obvious that he is so deep down the rabbit hole that I don't even know how deep it goes. He makes me more knowledgeable every time we interact. It's extremely impressive. And so, yeah, I guess that's kind of like my coaching journey there. And kind of where I'm at. What additional questions do you have? I definitely missed some key clarifying points there at some points.
No, I mean, it just shows you how important it is to have a coach, no matter what level you're at. Um, it's just eyes on you. People have different philosophies. So taking some from Noel, taking some from Cody, taking some from me has made you into what you are now. And then, I
Absolutely.
mean, you kind of dabble in some strongman stuff that I host, and
Yeah.
you come to me for little things there. And then when you're back on your bodybuilding, you're with Cody or the fitness industry is just so big, and there's a lot of people, but sometimes a lot of people just do it for the views, and it's just so saturated. Sometimes too, you feel like it's like, who do I believe? But if you have those key people, you can always go to those people and you can trust them wholeheartedly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so hard trying to decipher like who really loves this, right? Because
Yeah,
like there's so many guys where I followed and they had these extremely desirable physiques, right? And I wanted to look similarly to them. And I would look at them now and I go, oh my, they stopped lifting, right? They didn't even love this. They loved the dopamine it gave them from doing the not sustainable things that go viral on social media.
yeah, yeah. So that's going to help us transition into our full topic of this conversation. Uh, you're in bodybuilding. I'm in strongman. We've dabbled in both. Uh, I sometimes get called a bodybuilder because I stay pretty lean for a person that does strongman, but I would not even come close to calling myself a bodybuilder. So we're gonna go over some topics to help distinguish between a bodybuilder like you and a strongman like me. Kind of talk about the goals of each sport. Both are super demanding. Takes a lot of hard work, discipline in both of these areas. We're going to talk about training styles, the fatigue profiles because they're totally different, and then kind of the outcomes of long term of doing these things. But what we need to focus on is being in the gym, being healthy, focus on being strong, having muscle mass for that long term life. So we'll kind of dive in here on the goals. So what are the goals of bodybuilding?
Goals of bodybuilding are purely the mirror. Everything that we do is purely based off of looks. The amount of weight that you lift in the gym isn't logged. It's not noted. Nobody asks. Nobody cares.
Yeah,
That's just it's just the reality of the situation.
but but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean you don't track it. That doesn't mean you don't
No,
track the weight in the
exactly.
gym. But
Exactly.
it's not the most important thing.
100%. And the whole tracking weight thing is a little bit of a side tangent in and of itself because I'm a firm believer that tracking your weight as a bodybuilder is and tracking your weight, the weight that you're lifting, I think is under and overemphasized in the fitness world. I think people overemphasize it's important because they say track your weights and make sure that they're moving up every single week. I think that's silly. Obviously, we know that weights can go down, they can go up, or even stay the same. The reason that you track your weights isn't to make sure that they go up every week or every month. It's purely to see over a long duration of time, are you making progress, right?
Yeah.
There's 100 reasons as to why you cannot progress for a month. And that's why checking in on a weekly basis with a coach or having the ability to be truly honest, radically honest with yourself, takes a lot of discipline to be like, yes, I didn't progress this week. But if I lifted consistently, well, let's look at the data here. How many hours did I sleep? What were my lifts like? Did I rest enough? Was there additional stressors? Oh, I had 2 work trips this month. I went to Chicago. So I had technically 4 days at home where I didn't work across a whole month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's so many factors there. But just to tie that back into bodybuilding, it's purely based off of looks. And when you get judged on a stage, posing is really important. But it's actually just your mandatory poses that you're judged on. So just and your mandatory poses changed whether you're competing in men's physique or classic or open. But that's a little bit of a confusion that a lot of people that aren't super into bodybuilding don't realize is they'll be watching the Olympia and they'll say this person's individual routine when a classic physique competitor is or anyone is doing that really kind of flowy, this is my song I picked, I've been practicing this for 3 months type of thing. That's
Yeah.
all really cool, and like we like to see the artwork, and that's the part about bodybuilding I love is the art of it. So that's what I enjoy. But the reality is of it that routine is not judged. It's not judged at the Olympia. It's not judged in the IFBB. That individual posing routine is just quite frankly for funsies, but it's a lot of fun. So
So you watch a little bit more of the bodybuilding, Olympia, Arnold, that kind of thing. So the size of the athlete depends on their class, correct? Like open people are huge, but the more physique, board shorts, that's more of the definition, not the size, correct?
Absolutely. Well, yes, yes, and no. Because some of these open guys are starting to bring classic conditioning. Martin
Okay.
Fitzwater is a name that just rings off the top of my head right away. They're starting to get really peeled, and Martin is my favorite open bodybuilder at the moment for that reason purely. I think he looks awesome and he brings that classic conditioning. But yeah, classic physique and men's physique competitors both have weight caps based off their height. So somebody can be 240 pounds and then somebody can be 220 pounds, and they're both not allowed to get bigger, and it's proportionate to how tall they are. Open bodybuilding is where that is what we call true bodybuilding, because that's where we take we stop setting limitations on people. You can weigh absolutely whatever you want. Your height does not matter at that point.
Okay.
And it's also worth noting that there is another division that's essentially open bodybuilding, but it's just, in my opinion, it's a weird dumb division. It feels like the short person validation division. It's called 212. There's just a weight cap for everyone, and it's 212. Big shocker, 6 foot plus guys at 212 don't look as good as 5'5" guys at 212. So just call it what it is. It's a class just made for midgets. It's so weird that it exists.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. So on the opposite of that is strongman. And that's what I do. And you've done a couple of my competitions.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
No,
kidding.
no. You destroyed that one, brother. You destroyed
I
that
did
one.
that one. I
But
had I had my one.
but the appearance in strongman has no correlation to the competition. Body the body fat, the appearance is totally different between all weight classes. I mean, you have the 165 weight class and you have the 308 plus weight class. So you have guys that are, shorter, stocky, muscular, and then you got the big old boys, lifting 400-500 pounds on overhead press, stones, that kind of thing. So the appearance is very, very different from bodybuilding, but the goal is totally different. It's mass moves mass. Uh, so when you've done a competition, how did you feel like your transition from bodybuilding to strongman, but staying lean? How did you feel like that went?
Well, it was easy for me just because, quite frankly, I practiced for that competition 0%. I think I showed up to your gym the day before. I said, just show me every movement. I'm not even going to lift it heavy. I just want to know how to do it and kind of the technique, and we figured it out. So, like the whole staying lean thing, because I don't actually compete in strongman and it's a total side quest when I do it.
Yeah.
There was no I say I wasn't going to be pissed if I didn't win. That I would have for sure been livid if I didn't win. So that's just
Yeah.
not true. I definitely fully went in with the intentions of living. It's why I showed up the day or winning. That's why I showed up the day before and got the movements down. But it was purely based off hope. It's completely brutal when I do it. The CNS recovery is just extensive for me. It's truly miserable. I mean, on day 3, I find myself still recovering. Day 4, I just fully understand that every time I do something like that, I realistically don't have a good bodybuilding workout for 5 days, and that's on the light side. It's probably closer
Yeah.
to 6 or 7.
Yeah. And I feel like that's why it's so hard to transition from bodybuilding to strongman in such a short time, is because you need to be maximally strong. You have to have endurance across so many different events. There's a lot of technical application that comes into play on certain, sandbags, stones. If you're cleaning a log or an axle or a circus dumbbell, it's the repetition is what's so important in those movements.
Yeah.
So
And
it's yeah. What were you gonna
and
say?
when you say that you need to like be able to like last a long time, I forget the word you used there. I just blanked on it. But
Endurance.
yeah, endurance. It has nothing to do. Bodybuilders are going to hear that and they're going to think, "Oh, I have better endurance than these respectfully fat strongmen." And that's why you get called a bodybuilder, is because no other strongman looks like you, right? Like every historically, you're theoretically you're just not great off looks. So some people find that their weight is better when they're fat, and they perform better like that. So that's a side tangent I want you to go on after this, is why you still are as lean as you are despite wanting to be a strong man. But endurance and strongman is completely different. I mean, it's max endurance for a minute, which that sounds easy as a bodybuilder, but the endurance factor that is truly crushing and you don't realize until you do it, is having to apply maximum effort at 10 a.m. and then also having to apply maximum effort at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Like you only do three things throughout the whole day, and so that's where the endurance part is hard. Is it's you finding where it's appropriate to mentally clock out, and then where knowing when you need to
Come
mentally
back
clock
up.
in, because
Yeah.
you cannot be mentally clocked in ready to hit your next lift for 6 hours, expect that you're going to be doing well by the end of it, you know.
Yeah. But that's where nutrition and supplementation comes into play, and being able to just know your body of like, okay, I can relax here. I need to, have my hydration, have my fluids. And then it's like, okay, now we got to do it all over again. Let's get hype. Let's, warm up this area. We gotta carry this sandbag for a minute, going balls to the wall.
It's so exhausting. It
It
really is
is.
so
It
exhausting
is.
because it just feels like the closest comparison I have is when I was in high school sports and you do those basketball summer tournaments and it's like, oh, we have 3 games today. And
Yeah.
that's seriously what it feels like. It's brutal having to re-prep for those. And by the time you get to your last one, you're like, you're starting to feel things from the first and second game, but you just got to figure out how to apply full effort regardless.
Yeah. I feel like that's been an easy transition for me from track and basketball to strongman. Is like I said, I'm super lean. I'm like 200 right now. I've kind of bulked up. I've increased my food. I've had a lot more rest days. I'm only training like 2 or 3 days a week compared
Hell
to
yeah.
5. So I'm sitting about 207, but usually I'm around the 203 mark, and I'm probably 11, 12% body fat. So I stay pretty lean, but I feel like it comes from genetics, a huge part of it. I think I eat so much food, and I feel like I will never get fat. So
Yeah,
that's a huge part, is genetics.
100%. I,
Um,
I'm going to push back on that, actually.
okay,
I'm
push
going to
back on
push
it.
back on that and just say that, because I know there's some fat person right now thinking, like, man, Tyler's been blessed from the start. And I just want to call out that I was that person that's watching this right now. Um, I would have never guessed that I could get to a point where um, to the last few days I've been going to bed hungry because I have like some Christmas stuff today, right? I have 2 Christmas celebrations. I'm about to be a total fat ass twice today. Um, but the reason I was hungry is because I had made it a point I told myself for the first time in weeks, I'm not going to eat over 5,000 calories today. I went to bed hungry because I ate 4,900 calories. There's no world in which when I was fat that I would be able to eat 4,900 calories and not be brain fog the next day, feeling terrible. I eat about 5,000 calories a day consistently, plus or minus a few hundred. And I feel great. I wake up in the morning and I feel light, um, like the whole 9 yards. So, like, I truly believe that metabolism can be um, not I hate the word trained because it can be trained. You can train your metabolism, get it used to timing and things of that nature. That's true. But also, like, when you break it down, I probably have gained, and this is going to sound crazy, but over the course of my journey, realistically, I've probably gained 60 pounds of lean muscle tissue over
Yeah.
the course since between now and like 2021, because we linked up in like 2021 and I was training for a little bit before then. So
Yeah.
it's coming up on like 4, maybe even 5 years now of training. 60 pounds, that's a pretty fair number for all the progress I've made. It's probably low. And 60 pounds of muscle requires a lot of calories every
Yeah.
single day. If somebody like that's not a fast change. It's not easy. When you start training, you're not going to instantly be able to eat significantly more food because of the muscle tissue. It's going to be because of the caloric expenditure at the gym. But that's compounding over time, and it gets to a point now I can comfortably eat way too much food and enjoy the taste like I always wanted to. And it's funny because like that was the goal at the beginning. I say that the goal with you was to start looking good, that's because I had made so much progress on losing weight. The reason I wanted to lose weight at the very start of that journey when I was super fat was to enable myself to eat more food. Right. I had
Yeah.
just reached my maximum threshold of the fat level I was comfortable with,
Yeah.
but I by no means in the other side of my head was I thinking I want to stop eating food. Right. I was like, I just want to enable more food later. And that's kind of what ended up happening simultaneously.
Yeah.
But why are you lean and strong, man?
Because I have to fit into a weight class.
Exactly.
So yeah, I feel like I've right now is the heaviest I've ever weighed. 207.
That's crazy. You're
I
housed
know.
up right now.
I know.
I was 217.4 this morning. So that's wild. We're only 10 pounds away right now. I was feeling light.
Yeah. So how, as a bodybuilder, what do you focus on during your training? Like what's your kind of training style?
Yeah. Um, Fantastic question. My training style has changed drastically, and so I reserve the right to always get smarter. I will 100% be better at training a year from now than I will be right now.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I don't think I'm really knowledgeable about training at this moment in time. I'm currently on a push-pull leg split. Reason
Okay.
being, I find frequency to be very important. I am a science-based lifter, but I'm not what everyone considers a science-based lifter to be. Not those guys on TikTok. I train hard. I train to failure, and I train the 10 plus rep range consistently. Um, I really focus on the movement, contracting, controlling it up and down. So in that sense, I'm not a science-based lifter. I am a science-based lifter in the sense that I do believe frequency is more important than total volume. Um, for example, let's say you hit 12 working sets of chest, I think that your chest is going to be far bigger if that is 6 sets on Monday and then 6 sets on Thursday than if it is 12 sets on Monday and you run back another 12 sets of chest on Monday again. It's just anecdotally, that is the results I've gotten. I didn't trust it because I'm personally somebody who enjoys a bro split. If you ask me to go lift in the gym and have as much fun as I possibly can, I am going to hit biceps and triceps. And that's it. There's going to be nothing else to it, right? But if you're asking me to have the best physique and get to my goal in the quickest manner possible, it's definitely going to be in a push pull leg split. Upper lower is that point where it just gets too much for me. I cannot adequately stimulate my lats, my traps, my rhomboids, my upper chest, my sternocostal chest, my front medial and rear delt, my biceps and triceps. These guys who are saying they hit their whole upper body in one day, just call it, you're not hitting their whole upper body. Like they're breaking it. I have upper A, B, C. It's like, okay, so now we just have chest, back, and arms. But anyways,
But on the opposite end is I would hit an upper body day, but
yeah,
I'm focused on movements, not necessarily focused on isolating a certain muscle group. Like
yes,
I'm just trying to push press an axle above my head, and I'm using my shoulders. I'm trying to lift that thing through the ceiling as heavy as I can. For if I'm training for a competition, that could be for 1 rep, it could be for as many reps in a minute. So that's kind of where it differs. Is you're focused on maybe moderate weight, a little higher volume, isolation. I'm focused on upper body. I'm doing shoulder press. I'm doing incline for chest. I'm doing triceps, and then I might do some upper back.
yeah.
That's totally different than what you would do.
Yep, 100%. And so what I currently do is push pull legs. So on my push day, obviously chest delts, triceps really obvious back, biceps and rear delts on pull, and then legs day. Leg day is actually I've recently switched to a full leg day. So it's actually the same amount of sets as my previous leg day, but I was doing an anterior focused and a posterior focused day.
Okay.
Both days did have quads and hamstrings. Just one day had proprietarily more sets for hamstrings, and the other day had proprietarily more sets for quads. But I've recently just kind of evened those out, and I just have a push pull legs repeat. It's not an A and a B or anything like that. That's what's best for me right now. But if somebody was watching this video and they were thinking, what would he suggest or something like that? Like I try to get my clients to um, some people just want to do push pull legs because they know it's best and it's on TikTok and frequency, this and that. And I think that's important. But push pull legs for me would not have worked a year and a half ago. I would not have been able to, I would look worse right now had I been doing push pull legs for as long as I am. Reason being, I think that God, so many science based lifters are going to hate this. It's just the reality though. feeling the muscle and understanding how to train your desired thing you're trying to train mentally and how you want to look is so important. And I don't think that you can truly learn how to adequately stimulate your lats, your upper back, and your biceps by hitting all of those in the same day. I think to get good at training back, you need to, for a year or so, roughly, it's going to change for everyone. That's a rough ballpark number. There's people that are higher IQ and lower IQ. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
But I think that you need to have a back day and get good at training back. And then now you can, once you get good at training all of the muscle groups individually and you have the stimulus to them you want, then you start prioritizing that frequency. You split things up, you do push pull legs, and you, because you know what movements work best for you. You know what pull down movement is what works best, all that stuff. So like, yeah, I think that's very important. Is like, I think just blanketly we tell people to do push pull legs too frequently now. And if they just want to look better, that's honestly totally fine. But if you want to be a bodybuilder, that's not smart at all, because you really need to learn how to just like intrinsically train every detail. Like if you ask me how to hit like any muscle on my body, I would be able to tell you the movement I would hit to train that muscle and isolate that muscle. And I think that's really important to be able to do.
Is there ever a time where you're trying to hit a set that is for like a 1 to 3 rep, or is it always like if you're in like an off season, are you trying to maybe push some heavier weight on a certain lift or here and there, or is it mostly still the 8, 10, 12, 15 rep range?
For me, it's still the eight plus. Yeah,
Okay.
eight is my minimum usually.
You're,
If I have one that's at 7, I'm not like, that doesn't count, right? I'm like, data point, bring that down a little bit next
yeah,
week. So that's hopefully 9 or so on a lesser weight, right?
yeah.
But yeah,
So that's kind of where it's different is if I'm in an off season, I'm trying to get muscle hypertrophy. Like that's my focus because if I have more muscle, that can be potentially put into strength. So like I would focus on hypertrophy in the off season, kind of like what I'm doing now. I don't have a competition soon, so it's more high rep, more volume things to hopefully in a couple months transition that into a strength phase, a peaking phase into a competition.
absolutely.
So you kind of go into what sarcoplasmic growth is? You know what?
Dude, I don't even know what that is at all. That's just like
I
the
think
cell expanding in the muscle from the blood,
yeah,
right?
yes. I
Okay,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, it's basically just maximize muscle hypertrophy.
Oh yeah. I mean, we hear that all the time, and I just want to push back. I don't think that's actually scientific, but it goes to my point. Like, I don't think that that's what causes hypertrophy, but I
Okay,
think
what
that
does?
time under tension. I'm a
Okay,
firm believer that time under tension and just improving your weights week to week is what provides hypertrophy, right?
yeah.
Actually improving your weights on a week to week basis and getting stronger.
Are you as a bodybuilder? Are you more focused just on the eccentric portion of a movement, or are you focused on the concentric
I
portion
am
too?
I am equally focused on both. Personally, I'm equally focused on both. It's probably three for me. I have a count in my head. It's a 3 count. People say it's way longer than 3, but it's the same duration up as it is down, and that's the way I train. It's what allows my joints to feel good. It's what allows me to hit a leg day consistently every 4th day. Is because
Okay,
there's never a point where my knee is going at a bottom of a movement or my elbow is fully extending on a preacher curl and I'm bouncing off of it. You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
what allows my joints to feel good, and probably the 4 fish oil capsules I take a day help for sure. I know that they do, but yeah, the training is
Yeah,
also really
I
important.
remember hitting a chest day with you. We did incline, and for me, it's trying to be as explosive as possible. So it was like dumbbells. You're like, all right, go slow, and I was like, oh
Yeah,
shit, and
it's
then you're
exactly.
like do the same thing up, and I'm like, no, I just want to go boom. I just want to explode because that's what I do.
No,
So
seriously.
we do a lot of my coach has me do a lot of eccentric work in the off season, especially on deadlifts, squats, incline, uh, overhead press, just focus on that. But then for me, it's also the bracing part too. And the core is having that time under tension, going super slow, keeping that tension. is what I focus on a lot in strongman.
Yeah, the bracing was the most difficult part of competing in strongman for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Just preparing your body to be in a healthy position to lift and not get injured is the most important part, but it's also the easiest one to skip as soon as you get tired.
yeah. So from doing a lot of eccentric load, what is the fatigue profile like? What's the stress profile like from an eccentric load compared to like a concentric load
Well,
as a bodybuilder, because you've done strongman. The lifts are heavy, they're long, they're hard. Pause. Just kidding. But the fatigue is totally different between a bodybuilder and a strongman. So kind of go about the fatigue as a bodybuilder. It's more localized in the muscle, but not your nervous system. So kind of talk about that in your experience.
100%. When I compete in strongman, I walk around the next day or that whole day, the whole strongman competition. It's pure brain fog. It's I want to sit in a couch, and it's honestly the way I used to train. I remember coming home from the gym every single day, and it was just like that blank stare into the windshield as you sip your protein shake and you finish it, and you still don't walk into the house for 30 minutes because you are physically, but most importantly, mentally fried.
Yeah.
When I bodybuild, I am able to have a high functioning mental day, which is crucial for the success of my lifestyle, to be
Yeah.
completely frank. I'm not in a position to where I can train and forfeit the following 6 hours because my CNS is toast. I'm just not, I unfortunately can't do that, right? So, but when I bodybuild, right, feel completely great mentally. But I will say the muscle soreness is greater, but the body soreness is less. And
Yeah.
let me explain that. When I hit bicep, when I hit my pull day, my lats and my biceps are genuinely so sore the next day, right? Like when I extend my arm, it's like, oh, it's very clear. It's so hard to lift my head or my arms up because my lats are so tight and I have to
Yeah.
stretch them out in the morning, right? But it's the fact that my lats and my biceps are tight. That's all there is to the soreness.
You have muscle soreness, not joint soreness.
Exactly. When I compete in strongman, it is hard to get out of bed in the morning. That doesn't happen when your bicep is sore, right? Like my
Yeah.
whole body is toast from my pinky toe to the longest hair I have on the crown of my head. I'm just exhausted.
Yeah. If I do an events day, like a Saturday events day, and then I have to go train somebody, like picking up like a 30-pound dumbbell feels like the fucking world. It feels so heavy. And I'm like, maybe you should just grab it yourself today
No,
because
for real.
I did overhead press, I did stones, I did yoke, I had all this loading on my spine, and it is toast.
Yep. And
You
then
don't
you're
get you don't get that in bodybuilding.
no,
I've
not
done
at all.
bodybuilding workouts. We've done legs before. We've done chest. My chest is sore for 5-6 days after doing a bodybuilding workout from the time under tension, from the volume. My chest, I do one set a week, or I do one exercise, 3 or 4 sets, and it's focused on as much weight as possible, not eccentric, not pauses, not drop sets, anything like that.
It's
So
funny you say
it's
that.
it's totally different.
At least once every 4 months I have. It's funny because that week was this week, so I'm actually excited to talk about it. But I have a week at least, probably anecdotally once every 4 to 6 months. I try to do it at least twice a year. I have a week where I go into it and I say it's kind of a deload-esque week. I'm probably training. I set a maximum of 4 times to train that week. So I actually just had my fourth training today. I'm for sure gonna rest tomorrow and just call it. I made it a point to drop every single weight I trained this week. I just grabbed my numbers, didn't even log data this week, and I just said 75% of that weight is what I'm lifting.
Okay.
But I went in with the intention of making the lift harder, right? So full disclosure, the weights that I had written down previously, I'm going to use as data points, but I think that that's really important. Is I'm a firm believer that everyone's form can always get better. Um, that is the case for open bodybuilders as well. That is the case for professional bodybuilders. Everyone's form can always get better.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is going to go against all the science stuff, science based people, but I love Hani Rambod as a training coach. I love the way that Hani Rambod trains people. I think he obviously pushes them hard and all that stuff, but I think his exercise selection is fantastic. And um, but I do push back on the whole FST7 and the sarcoplasmic stuff that he talks about of just pump the muscle up. I don't think that's as important. I think that a pump is indicative that you're having a good bodybuilding lift, but it's not crucial.
Yeah. I think things are a little overhyped and people just need to focus on, sticking to a plan, sleep,
Yeah, dude.
protein.
No,
It's it's
seriously.
it's it's seriously so basic, but you see all these things that are talked about and you want to just do all those things. You're not even focused on the basics.
Yeah, 100%. Dude, if I'm interested to see what you would say to somebody, but like assuming you have somebody that you know is not very good at staying like consistent, right? And they need one additional thing per week, right? They're gonna do that thing. It could be a diet, it could be training consistently, but you only get to add one additional thing to them per week. For me, the first thing I'm doing is not training, and you probably think it's nutrition, but it's not. If somebody could fix their sleep schedule and assert good sleep within a week time, I would
Yeah.
say I would say continue to eat like the average American this week with your current lifestyle, but get good at sleeping. That would be priority number one, assuming that we can do diet after that. And that's obviously an obscure example, but that's so important and
Oh, yeah.
slept on, if you will.
Yeah. For a while there, I was getting up super early to work out, 2:30 in the morning, work out before my clients. People were like, "You're not sleeping enough." I was like, "But my quality of sleep was so good. I was going to sleep at 8:30, waking up at 2:30, sleep the whole night, no interruptions. I had great workouts. I lasted all day." So, do you think the quality or the quantity is more important?
Oh, that is a fantastic question.
Because
The answer,
in my regards, quality was more important for me then.
if we can only pick one,
Yes, you can only pick
which
one. Because right now, my
it's gonna be quality. It's
quality.
gonna be
Okay.
quality every single day of the week. And if anyone pushes back, then I'm gonna say, how good did you feel on that night that you got drunk and you slept for 12 hours and you had shitty sleep? Did you feel was the 12 hours was the greater quantity superior to 8 quality hours of rest?
Yeah.
Hell no, it wasn't. So quality for sure.
Yeah. Because right now I'm training like three times a week, but with
Fully recovered each time.
yeah, I mean, kinda with Theo's getting up, 5, 6 times a night. I'm getting up every hour and a half, 2 hours.
Oh
So
my
like my sleep
gosh.
has been thrown off the last probably three weeks.
Yeah,
So that's why I'm like, do I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go work out after getting 3 hour, 4 hours of sleep? Or do I have a day and I push it back? So I've been pushing workouts back. I haven't been getting as much in. I've been focused on my hydration, my protein, supplementation, and then getting rest and sleep when I can, and
absolutely.
then doing workouts when I feel the best.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what I do right now is I
Yeah.
lift when I can. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean and I actually don't lift when I can. I lift when it makes sense to for my goal. I could have lifted earlier this week on a couple of my rest days, right? But let's say it's not a deload week. It's kind of a deload week. But let's say it's a different week where I'm not on a deload, right? There was I actually didn't have a deload week last week, but I only trained 4 times too, funnily enough. Reason being I was had to go to Chicago for a work trip. Honestly, it wouldn't have made sense. I was
Yeah.
not going to be why what is I going to honestly, it would have added a significant amount of stress to my life to worry about packing all this stuff to get to the gym and stuff like that in Chicago when I'm already Ubering around everywhere and I simultaneously have work things going on the whole time. Like
Yeah.
the additional stress there, I guarantee you would have in added water, right? I would have been holding on to water purely just from increased cortisol. But there's also no way I would have gotten the sleep that I got that weekend had I been trying to focus on getting to the gym so that I can hit a hotel gym workout. It's like, come on, be realistic. The 3 days of rest there were far more beneficial than 2 hotel workouts would have been.
Yeah. I think people underestimate stress on their body. Like your body doesn't know the difference between a stress from your workout or like mental stress from work or family and life. your body just is like, damn, this is just stress.
Yeah.
And you have all of that coming down on you. And people need to, I think, take more caution from that and be like, okay, I need to not go to the gym as often this week. I got this going on with family. Maybe you're fighting with your spouse or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that. That's
dude.
a huge, huge stress that your body's just like, I can't do that.
Yeah, 100%. We've all been there. I think, yeah, people who are really in tune with their body, like you and I are, will 100% anecdotally just realize that stress is stress is stress is stress, and you might be 100% physically recovered, but and this is an obscure example, it's not my case, but if your if your wife has cancer, it doesn't matter that you got 8 hours of sleep and that you've hit your macros for the last 4 hours. Like, life sucks. Your
Yeah.
body hates life right now. It doesn't want to go pick up heavy dumbbells. It's not going to prioritize PRing on your squat. Like, that's just the reality of the situation. It's
Yeah.
crazy how many factors come into play.
And then if you do push yourself during that time, you bring in a lot of overreaching risk, injuries, adrenal fatigue.
Yes,
And that's kind of when, things don't work out for you. You have,
absolutely.
you get that super big injury during that time. Because you're
Exactly.
not focused on the lifting part. You're still thinking about all the external things that are going on. You're less hydrated. You have less sleep. You have all these things that are not stacking up in the good areas. And then you fuck something up.
Absolutely. Exactly, dude. It's just that easy, especially in strongman. It's not quite that easy in
Yeah.
bodybuilding,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But it is definitely that easy in strongman, right? If I have to drop my dumbbell in an incline press, it's not nearly as big of a deal. But
Yeah. So what's the mindset of a bodybuilder? It's like if you're getting ready for the gym, what are you thinking about when you're making your pre-workout shake? Like when you're driving to the gym, when you get to the gym, what is your mental goal?
yeah, fantastic question. Nutrient real bodybuilders, not just people that like say they're bodybuilders. And it's funny because I hesitate to say I'm a bodybuilder just because I haven't actually stepped on a stage yet. Um, but they're taking everything into consideration: nutrient timing, water intake, everything, like all, not just nutrient timing, but what am I eating before this? If I'm eating within 60 minutes, then and I need protein, then we know it has to be a whey shake. I'm not eating 7 ounces of red meat right now if I'm training in 60 minutes, right? What kind of carbs am I eating? I probably shouldn't be um, something extremely fibrous, right? I'm not going to eat just brown rice right before the gym. I'm going to eat white rice before the gym, just to take the fiber off the outside, get the straight carbs right away.
Yeah.
In terms of, yeah, those are the things I'm focused on: are nutrient timing, water intake, stimulant timing, which is completely dependent based off the person. For me, it's a lack of stimulant timing. Rather, I don't really I don't do well with caffeine super much. So
Okay.
taking my nootropics like L-theanine. I like to take GABA when I take my I am prescribed Adderall because I actually have ADHD. So I'm on a very low dosage for how big I am. I'm on 10 milligrams. I'll just gladly disclose it because it's so low. And so I take that with fats, with healthy fats, with fish oil, with all my pills and a meal.
Yeah.
And then take L-theanine, take about 750 milligrams of GABA, and some. I have another nootropic stack, but that one's more of like what I would call a multivitamin nootropic. It's kind of just like some other things at a lesser dosage, but I make sure to get my exact amount of L-theanine, CoQ10, and GABA.
Yeah. I mean, for both of us, we're both very like highly disciplined, like going to the gym and things. But like I know you have a routine. You're like, okay, I'm going to do these things. Um, is there ever a time where you're like you try something and you're like, okay, I'm not really feeling it in the muscle, and you change your routine, or do you still just grind it out?
You mean like call an audible within the workout and do something different?
Yes, yes.
Um,
Let's say you're doing chest fly on the machine, and that day something you feel it more in your biceps than your chest. Okay, I'm gonna do something different.
oh yeah, for sure, definitely, and it could
You don't
be
try to grind it out and be like, okay, well I'm gonna do less weight and then still do it. You
absolutely.
you'll try all these different things, in for that movement, and you're like,
Yeah,
damn, I'm still feeling it in my biceps today, or my forearms are cramping
100%.
up. I'm gonna go do decline push-ups or do
Yeah,
something else totally different that still works the chest.
exactly.
You change the routine up.
100,000%,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
ideally, I'll do incline dumbbell press. I love incline
yeah,
dumbbell. Who doesn't love incline dumbbell bench? Literally no one. So that's my favorite movement. But some days it's just not feeling right. It could be an elbow thing, could be anything. I'm really on top of my tendonitis, have been for like a year. So elbow issues haven't popped up in recent memory. But for any reason, I could feel weak that day. But as a bodybuilder, what I'm worried about when I do incline dumbbell press is my upper chest stimulus. I already do what would probably not be considered by most to even be an incline. I call it incline dumbbell press. I purposely don't call it bench press because I do a very weird arm path. Some people call it a butterfly press, but when I press my dumbbells, like my hands are closest up here, right, and it's fully up. But as I come down, it's like a it's like an out and thing. So it's very upper chest focused. There's actually very like minimal elbow
yeah,
flexion there. So when I'm incline dumbbell pressing, I'm worried purely about the clavicular part, the clavicular portion of my chest getting a significant upper chest stimulus. Let's say I slept weird. Life really comes down to that. It's that simple. I could just sleep weird. We all could. And you wake up, your front delt is a little more internally rotated than it normally is, and your delt just feels weird in the front. And that
yeah,
inclined dumbbell press doesn't feel nearly as good. I'll gladly switch to a clavicular chest fly, which is just a chest fly with cables, but it's more focused on this arm path, just to focus on the sternocleidomastoid or the clavicular part of the chest.
yeah. And I think it's good for clients to hear that because let's say you have something programmed and they have something that's not feeling right, like they should reach out to find something different. They don't
Yeah,
have to do exactly what's on the plan if you're not feeling it in the thing you should be feeling it.
100%.
I
I
have that
couldn't
all the
agree
time
more.
where it's like, let's say I just did heavy deadlifts and I have to do log the next day and my back is torched. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to clean the log from the ground because my back is so jacked up. It's so sore from deadlifts.
Yep.
I'll be like, hey, can you care if I do it from the rack? Like, I don't have to pick it up. I can still do the movement, but I'm just not doing the cleaning part. So I think clients need to be more upfront and be like, okay, like I had shitty sleep. Let's say you had your arm hanging over your bed, and your wrist
Exactly.
hurts. It's like
Yep.
we can. There are so many different things we can transition to
Yeah.
around what you were programmed to do. So it's fine to be upfront with your coach and with yourself. It's like, okay, I'm not feeling this today. Let's find something that I can feel.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I've called audibles in the morning before I go to the gym and hit a different muscle group just because I woke up and my whole right arm was completely numb. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean when you wake up and something your part of your body is asleep. And
Yeah,
like, dude, it took forever for that one to come back. Even when it did, like, like when your hand like feels weak for a while, dude, my arm felt weak for like an hour. I was like, I don't even know the last time blood went through this thing. I was supposed to hit arms that day. It was for sure a quad and hamstring day after that, just because like it genuinely felt so weak. So just another one of the gazillion factors that come into performance in the gym.
yeah. I want to hit on a topic I think is super important for somebody that's in bodybuilding. Body dysmorphia.
Oh yeah.
Kind of talk about that and like, even though, like, do you think professional bodybuilders still go through body dysmorphia?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
for sure.
Kind
For
of kind of
sure.
go what that is and kind of what if you've dealt with it and kind of how you deal with it. So somebody
Yeah.
that is doing that can still be like, okay, it happens to everybody. We're gonna keep on trucking forward. Kind of describe that for us.
So body dysmorphia is purely just unhappiness with your physique, the way that you look when you break it down to it. Um, it's not synonymous with low confidence, and that's where a lot of people get mixed up. Is you can not like the way you look, but still look around a room and understand that you look better than everyone else. Those two things can be true at the same time, and that's why people with body dysmorphia actually struggle, get really frustrated with themselves, is because they walk into a room and they do look better than everyone else, and then they think, why do these people feel fine about themselves, right? Like that pisses me off, right? I see
Yeah,
some of that people, I'm like, damn, they don't care at all. That's awesome because I ate, I had bad sleep last night and I felt watery this morning and I was like, why did my weight jump up a pound and a half? I knew why and I didn't get hard on myself, but like those are things that go through my mind and I notice the minute changes day to day. So yeah, it's just unhappiness with the way that you look. I'd say all bodybuilders have it. I'd say that's why all bodybuilders are bodybuilders. No bodybuilder thought, man, I love the way I look. So I'm going to dedicate an unreal amount of time to improving this thing that I already like about myself. That just doesn't happen at all. Maybe somebody has happened. If you did that, you loved the way you look, so you started going to the gym because you loved yourself so much. Let me know. I'd be super interested. That'd just be cool to know if somebody did that. Good for you. That
Yeah.
wasn't my case. I definitely hated myself. That's why I went to the gym. but but yeah, dude. All bodybuilders have it for sure, and it's actually the sole reason that bodybuilders need a coach. Most professional bodybuilders, I'm not a professional bodybuilder and I would even consider myself a knowledgeable coach, need coaches purely for that reason. I tell people how to adjust their macros every single week based off all the data points, the same data points that I give my coach, right? But the most important data point in bodybuilding is what you see when you look in the mirror. And that is the one part where, and I always talk about radical honesty is important in bodybuilding. This isn't my inability to be honest with myself. This is that radical honesty. I am being radically honest when I say that when I look at myself in the mirror, I am not a good judge as to what reality is, right? I'm honest in saying that I can't be honest with myself. So I outsource that to my coach.
Yeah.
I think body dysmorphia is the only reason bodybuilders need coaches is because I might feel differently because I slept differently and I'm holding more water and now I want to eat less carbs today and now I fucked my physique tomorrow when your coach is just like, dude, you're good. When Cody tells me, dude, you're good, then that's why your coaching relationship matters so much. I genuinely trust that guy with everything. When Cody actually says, dude, you're totally good, I am totally good. When that thought pops up the rest of my head, that, damn, I look like shit. I'm going to look terrible tomorrow. I go, Cody said I'm good. I'm good. Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of putting what you know above what you feel. And that's really, really important in so many aspects of life, but also important in bodybuilding. I need to put what I know above what I feel. I feel like I look like shit, but Cody knows and I know that I'll look better tomorrow if I change absolutely nothing and just sleep better. Right.
Yeah. So on the other spectrum is my coach. I'd be like, that felt super slow, like on a movement. That felt like it took forever to complete. He's like, no, it still looks fast. But like when I look back at it, it's like, I thought it looked slow. I thought it looked sloppy. And he's like, no, it still moved fast. It
Yeah,
still moved fast.
dude,
Like
100%.
yeah. He's like, we could even go up. I'm like, I felt like it took me forever to do that. So having that other eye as for the performance is huge.
Have you ever been in a car accident? This will make sense.
Yes.
Did you get hit by an airbag in the front?
No.
Okay. When you get in a car accident, Tyler, it happened like this. You probably know exactly what the sound of the crunch of the car was like. You probably remember every split second of that probably 2 second thing in detail. If you were to tell somebody about what happened during that 3 seconds, you would probably articulate yourself for 5 minutes as to what your experience was across those 3 seconds. And that's exactly what you're experiencing there. It's like you know exactly how you felt when that bar was 1 inch, 1.5 inches, and 2 inches off. And you
Yeah.
know what you were mentally going through, and you know how hard that shit was. And then yeah, that makes perfect sense. So is that performance dysmorphia? Is that still fall under the same category?
I think so. I don't think anyone's ever called it that, but I
Well,
think
I
that's
just made
what.
that up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
fucking
Trade
revolutionary.
trademark
That's
trademark
awesome, dude.
performance.
Merch that right now, dude.
It's ours. It's
Yeah,
ours. Well, it's
for real.
Matt's, but
Yeah,
it's on this.
seriously.
It's on this podcast, so
Strength
it's
Lab
ours.
podcast for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
We'll take it. That's awesome.
So as a bodybuilder, is there anything intra workout that you focus on, like
Yeah.
nutrition? You take longer rest breaks in the middle,
So
anything like
that
that? Do you
intro
eat? Do you eat during middle
Oh,
of
I
your
thought that's what
workouts?
you were
Or
talking about. Yeah. When you said intra workout, my mind went straight to nutrition.
okay,
So in terms of intra workout, like rest timing and stuff, it varies based off the exercise. I'm able to hit a quick preacher curl back to back or not back to back, but in quicker succession than a hack squat. No brainer there, right? So the rest times vary based off of the movement, and even then, it's not hard set. What was your other? Oh yeah, sorry. Intra workout nutrition. That's exactly where my brain went with this. Yeah, I'm very on top of that. When I'm in a workout, I always have either, honestly, sometimes the electrolytes I drink before, but usually I kind of sip them before and they're intra workout. But yes, at some point, in my workout window, which when I say my workout window, that's not when I get to the gym and I leave the gym. That's that what you were talking about earlier, that mental prep. My
Yeah.
workout window is when I'm starting to think about that pre-workout meal when that's several hours before I even leave for the gym, right? That's that mental window in my head. It seriously takes so much energy. That's what I love about it. But yeah, so always electrolytes, always EAAs, and carbohydrate intake within workout varies based off of supplementation at that moment in time, where you're at in terms of your goals and things of that nature. But I can just tell you right now, I'm drinking about 75 carbs a day at the gym. I'm probably going to bump it up to 100. Honestly, I started eating some carbs at the gym this week. I love the Evogen. What do they call it? The not glycerol. They have their like really good. They have their. It's not carbolin. It's very similar. It's
Yeah.
basically just that intra workout carb. You know exactly what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. But I'm not gonna lie. I got some candy this week, so and then it's totally fine to do every once in a while. Right? That's that going
Yeah.
back to tying it to your lifestyle thing. It's Christmas time. I got some Mike and Ike's. I love Mike and Ike's, so
There you
I
go.
subbed out subbed out the drink. But yeah, I'm currently taking about 75 to 100 grams of intra workout carbs. Always. Uh, Significant amounts of electrolytes and EAAs at the very least.
So
I'm
if you
starting to
have,
think about bringing protein to the gym, not like a
okay.
50-gram shake, but I'm thinking about getting just like 20 grams of protein in into my intra workout stack purely for the not for the total protein intake throughout the day, but for the signaling, right? Because that's
Yeah.
technically why I'm drinking the EAAs is to send those signals. So let's also get the protein that's gonna be the building block as those get sent. It's just like a little idea I have. I don't think it really matters that much, but I'm interested
Yeah.
to see how it anecdotally affects me if I add it.
So if you have someone that's really trying to lose weight and cut, do you still have them use the carbs intro workout, or
Oh
is
God,
it
no,
no?
no, absolutely not. To have a sufficient workout, you do not need intra workout carbs at all. They enhance your workout, they make it better. But if you're cutting and you're cutting well, intra workout carbs are not where I want to slate your calories, right? It's going to be
Yeah.
something that fills you up a little bit more throughout the day, has a little bit better micronutrient intake than a carb drink or a candy or something like that. That might make your workout better, but um, back to the point, that might make your workout better, but what's going to make your sleep better is having a fuller stomach, right? And so if you're able to have um, an extra 6 ounces of white rice before you go to bed because you didn't have intra workout carbs, that's a win for sure.
Yeah. How much sodium? I know there's a lot of word, a lot of talk on salt and sodium as someone maybe that's something that doesn't work out. Like people like, oh, you need to reduce your sodium. Uh, I consume a lot of sodium before, intra, after workouts. Muscles are just wanting to soak everything up. What's your take on having a lot of sodium?
It's just like my take on everything is like, even if a client asked me how much I would take, it would be based off their situation. The answer is it just depends. I take a different amount of electrolytes based off what my workout looks like that day, right?
Yeah.
If it's actually I didn't wake up late on a day, I'm running late, I'm taking less electrolytes. Why? Because I'm not doing sauna and cardio after the gym. If I'm doing the sauna and cardio after the gym and I'm sweating exponentially more and I'm going to have to replace significantly more water, I'm adding more electrolytes to compensate for that hydration later on. But it also varies completely based off how much food I eat, right? Um, I trained, what was it? Yeah, I trained this morning, had like a Christmas gathering recently. So I had a bunch of Casey's pizza with my friends, all my gym friends. We had a white Chris or the Christmas party at my house, stuff like that. Super fun, right? So we had a bunch of Casey's pizza. We ate a bunch of fantastic food. The next morning, I wasn't like, oh God, I need salt so bad. That did not cross that my mind because I knew I had 10 pieces of Casey's pizza before I went to bed.
Yeah.
So the sodium is there. And so it's just like considering all that you're actually intaking throughout the day is what's key. I generally take when I'm actually on diet about a gram of sodium within my electrolytes. So there's magnesium and potassium in there too,
Yep.
and all the other stuff. But about it, for sodium, about a gram if I'm on diet and I'm hitting the sauna that day too. My workout's about 75 minutes. So
So let's say somebody wants to get into bodybuilding type training. What are some major key points that you would have them focus on at the very beginning? It'd be like 5 points that you would give them to start.
if somebody is getting into bodybuilding, I would tell them to do a bro split. I would tell them to train 5 days a week, and I would
Okay.
tell it to them to do chest, arms, delts, back, legs, not in that order. I don't care what order you pick, but separate your delt and chest days a little bit.
So bro split
I
one.
would tell them to do a bro split because I want them to just get good at hitting the intended muscle group, understanding what it feels like to have an actual pump. I don't think somebody's going to get a good pump if they hit 3 sets of biceps and 3 sets of back and 3 sets of, on a pull day for their first lift ever. So I think it's really important just to feel blood in the muscle, understand what that pump feels like. And let, honestly, to go back to my point, bro split is my favorite, right? I think they're gonna get that taste, right? They're gonna get that a little. That's where the addiction starts. Is they're
Yeah.
gonna get one good chest pump, and they're set, dude. You don't even have to ask them to go to the gym anymore, right? They're off on their own after one good pump. So I think that that's really important in terms of training. And then I would just tell them how important all the other factors are. There's so many things that you can do in this gym to get better at training, but those aren't things to mentally exhaust yourself and put all the effort into early on. Get good at getting 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of quality sleep, 8 hours of quality sleep at the same time every single night. Get good at that. Get good at nutrition. Once you get good at, and when I say get good at nutrition, that's a whole rabbit hole in and of itself. Like each of these things that I'm talking about individually, sleep, nutrition, training, they're all ladders in and of themselves, right? I'm
Yeah.
telling them just at the beginning to try to get 8 hours of sleep consistently. And then it's like, okay, let's start talking about how to increase sleep quality, right? Let's start lowering the temperature about an hour before you go to bed. Let's get those sheets nice and cool. Let's take your comforter off. Don't let's just call it how it is, dude. I sleep naked. It's just really cold. That's good for sleep quality, right? My house goes down to 62 in the middle of winter, and I'm in the basement. So like, I am certifiably freezing until about 30 minutes before I wake up. My heater kicks on and it gets it nice and toasty, so that it's easier for me to wake up, right? Like
Yeah.
those things are enhanced sleep quality. But when somebody asks me on the first day, what do I need to do? I'm not going to say sleep naked and change your thermostat settings, right? I'm gonna say just start getting 8 hours of sleep,
Yeah.
right? So there's levels to each of these things individually. You can always get better at them. And for nutrition, I'd say just focus on getting roughly 1 gram, 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. I'm saying body weight, not lean mass. And again, that's just that first step of the ladder. Get that, and then try to figure out what your calories are that maintain your weight. That would be the first step of nutrition for
Yeah.
them. And then the first step of new training would just be, hit each muscle group by itself and understand how to hit that muscle group well. And then once you get all those first steps, we can start dialing all these things in individually. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Definitely a hierarchy tier system you should kind of go into
yeah,
this journey
a hundred
because
percent.
it's
And
it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So
absolutely.
whether you're doing bodybuilding, strongman, powerlifting, CrossFit, you so many different things you need to focus on, but there's some basic things that you have mentioned that we should focus on.
Yeah. But
Um,
probably don't do CrossFit though,
no, don't do
regardless.
CrossFit. No, don't do
Yeah, for
CrossFit.
sure.
No, don't do CrossFit. Is there any last uh comments, questions you would like to uh leave the people with before we end this first Strength Lab podcast as us two hosts?
I just have a
Any?
question for you. I want to know
Okay.
what you could think of off the cuff. This is a quick one. We'll end it off with this. What's a gym fitness, just fitness world? So you could be anything. It doesn't have to be gym. Could be diet. Could be misconceptions people have. What is just a pet peeve? You hear it and you're just like, that's not true. Like, why do so many people believe that? Or like,
Oh
why do
God.
people do this movement? Like, this movement sucks. For me, I laugh my dude. I'll start off, make it easy for you, give you some more time. I laugh my ass off when I see people doing Arnold press at the gym. I know for a fact, dude, there's no way. Arnold Schwarzenegger did not do the Arnold press, right? He wrote his book on how he trained and this and that. Dude, the Arnold press, you know what I'm talking about, right? The dumbbell movements where you come down like
Yeah,
this and you come
yeah.
up. Dude, I swear, I want to talk to Arnold in real life, dude. He for sure put that shit in there as a joke, right?
You
And
think so?
he's got motherfuckers doing this weird dumbbell curl shoulder press, internal external rotation thing decades later. I bet he laughs his ass off on like a random Saturday night once in a while. Be like, he probably walks into a gym, sees some guy doing it. He's just like, damn, it's just because I made a joke and put it in a book. I
That's
genuinely think that movement sucks, and I think Arnold was kidding when he put it there. I don't think he's that dumb.
that's crazy. I never would have thought you would have said that, but that's a good point.
It's
I
like,
think I think for me, as someone that owns a gym,
oh,
I think it's the etiquette and the lack of consideration that people have for other people.
yes,
But I think that's where it's different. If you have like if you're a part of like a bodybuilding community or a strongman community, like you're trying to help the other person, you're being encouraging, you're doing all these things with those people. I think people that just go to the gym by themselves, they don't have that group and they don't have that etiquette. Like I have people that don't clean stuff down. People are just sit on the machine for an hour, not let anybody else use it. So I think my biggest pet peeve as a gym owner would be the lack of etiquette that people have.
yeah,
People just like have an ego, and they shouldn't.
100%, dude, 100%. And that applies actually to this last thing I'll say. But people that are even good at this, dude, I go to Crunch Fitness right now, but I pay the same amount as the 80-year-old grandma that's just trying to figure out how to have her hips not hurt, right?
Yeah,
I am 0% more entitled to any machine than she is, right? So
yeah,
frustrating. But yeah, that's a no-brainer, dude. That's a good pet peeve. I don't see why that's yours.
yeah, yeah.
All right, man. Awesome.
Well, we will have tons more topics to cover here. Our goal is to have a podcast every week, uploaded every Monday. So stay tuned for that. And appreciate you, Matt.
Of course, dude. I'm happy to be here. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Awesome, dude. We'll see you later.
Yep.
Have a good one, everyone.